Aristotle, ancient Greek philosopher, student of Plato, teacher of Alexander the Great, the man who practically invented how we understand the world. But how did Aristotle see reality? How did he make sense of nature, purpose, and even life itself? Today I'm going to be telling you about Aristotle and how he saw reality. I'll break it all down to you, so if you enjoy the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Aristotle believed that nature followed certain laws, but not in the certain way we think of scientific laws today. He saw these laws as patterns, a sort of order within nature that dictate how everything around us exists and functions. Unlike modern science, which tends to see laws as mathematical rules, Aristotle thought of them as guiding principles, almost as if nature had intentions. For example, Aristotle viewed everything from a simple rock to a human being had a kind of purpose. Rocks fell because they belonged to the earth, just like the fire rose because it aimed towards the heavens. For Aristotle, these weren't just accidental forces, but inherent goals of everything around us. Aristotle didn't just see the world as random matter. He divided nature into its own domains, each with purpose and function. There was the mono world, the plant world, and the humans on top, right? He believed that each of these had an end goal, or at least define what end was, right? Plants grow and reproduce. Animals sense and move. Humans think. And that's what made us different, at least in Aristotle's perspective. Aristotle called this idea telos, which means purpose or end. For him, everything had an intrinsic goal it's moving towards. It's almost as if every single thing had its own built-in compass guiding it. To Aristotle, everything in the physical world was made of four fundamental elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Each of these elements had its own natural place in the world and would strive to return to that place. Earth and water were drawn downwards, which is why rocks fell. Air and fire, meanwhile, rose towards the heavens. Example could be, so when you drop a rock, it's not just falling because of gravity. Aristotle would say it's doing what it naturally wants to do, returning to its place, joining the earth below. It might sound strange today, but he saw nature as this self-organizing system, with everything moving towards where it belongs. One of Aristotle's most radical ideas was about mortality and change. He believed that everything was subject to change and that this wasn't just inevitable, it was essential. For him to live was to change, and to resist change was to go against the natural order. Think of a tree. It grows, reaches maturity, and then dies. For Aristotle, this entire process was just as natural as anything else. In fact, change was a necessary condition of life. Without it could be no growth, no progress, no real purpose. There could be none. So when we talk about our fear of mortality, or even our resistance to change, Aristotle would say that's exactly what gives life its shape. Without an end, if you have no end, there's no real meaning, right? And in a way, it's both beautiful, but a little intimidating, right? It's a little scary. Aristotle's world was one of the function and purpose, everything from your hand to your heart, had a particular function it was meant to fulfill. And he believed that to understand anything, first, you had to know its purpose. Take a hammer. Its purpose is to drive nails. If a hammer can't drive nails, we would say it's a bad hammer. Aristotle would say the same thing about humans. If we aren't fulfilling our potential, if we aren't thinking, learning, engaging with our world, then we are failing to be fully human. So for Aristotle, being human wasn't just about existing. It was about striving to reach our highest potential. He believed the ultimate purpose of humans was to achieve eudaimonia, a Greek word often translated as flourishing or the good life. And to him, the good life wasn't about pleasure or wealth. It was about living in harmony with our purpose. Now, here's where Aristotle differs from what we know today. He believed that the heart, not the brain, was the seat of thought and emotions. For him, the heart was where our most essential human qualities resided. Aristotle would probably be shocked about what we know today about the brain, but in his time it made sense to him. The heart was warm, active, and central to life, while the brain seemed cold and distant. It took a few centuries to get that one figured out, but it's a reminder of how our understanding of nature can evolve. So how does Aristotle's philosophy hold up in our modern world today? While his science might have been flawed, his insight into purpose, morality, and our relationships to the world still resonates with us. If Aristotle could look at the world and find purpose in everything, what's stopping us from finding meaning in our own lives? So here's the question. What's your purpose? What is your purpose? What are you striving for? Reflect on it and write it down. Remember, you are part of this complex, ordered universe too.